And welcome back to Versus Live. I'm Ross Merriam.
I'm Corey Baumeister.
And we got Kyle in the booth. Say hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
He's going to be taking all your questions and comments. Make sure you tag at SCG Tour so he can see them and throw his favorite questions our way. We are nearing the end of our preparation for SCG Philadelphia this weekend. It is a team-constructed open, so we are playing a team-constructed match.
Yep.
Corey got me in Legacy in the first match of the day. I got him back in Modern. Trusty is at Phoenix deck coming through. And now Corey gets his first chance at the marbles.
Oh my God. It's a moment I've been dreaming of since I was a little kid.
Yes.
Always knew I wanted to take marbles from Ross. So
Todd and I have been effectively playing keep away with the marbles for a while. He just hasn't had it. I've had them, but then you played Todd, and then when you played me, Todd had them. Didn't get a chance to play them, but they're currently mine. We are 1-1. You get a chance in your most experienced format.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a conspiracy where you guys were just saying, you have the marble this time, so we don't give it to Corey.
It wasn't a conspiracy. We were actively talking about it during our own episode.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
if you'd watched them, you would have known.
Fair enough. What am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
This was not a secret.
Yeah, so we're playing standard. This is actually what we will both be playing at SCGs, or at SCG Philly.
I'm going to be in the standard seat for my team.
As will I.
Playing a little bit of mono blue aggro. Went so well last week. Got to run it back. Deck's awesome.
Yep.
And super fun.
It is super fun. I played Mono Blue at Mythic Championship London and loved it. I mean, the deck was just so powerful there. Won, and did pretty well in the top 8 as well. I'm playing Bant Ramp here that has a little bit of decent amount of tools to fight Mono Blue. Normally, this kind of slower-based sorcery speed deck is not going to be that great against you. Maybe more talking about like Simic Ramp. But with white, I get Teferi Time Reveler, which is your favorite card to play against, I imagine, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. It's a joy to never be able to cast any of my spells.
Yes. Yeah, your creatures look a lot worse when you're just casting 1 mana 1/1 flyings with sorcery speed.
Yeah. White also gives you access to some good flying blockers. You've got a couple Shalai Voice of Planetes in the main, got a Lyra Dawnbringer in the sideboard, and 3 copies of Deputy of Detention to go along with the main deck Voracious Hydras. So unlike a lot of ramp decks, you have a lot of ways to interact with creatures.
Yep.
So this was a matchup that I actually
played.
Which
is, I think, what you have to be doing right now, to be fair. You can't just be expecting to ramp into these big spells in a tempo-based world or even Nexus or something like that. You need to be interacting early.
Yeah. So this is actually a matchup I played in the quarterfinals of Worcester last weekend. This is Benjamin Riley's list. Was able to take that match down in a tight 3 games, but he won game 1 with an early Voracious Hydra when I didn't have the dive down. Games 2 and 3 were a nail biter. I had to win through a Teferi in one game, attack it down over 2 or 3 turns and hope to not fall too far behind when he had that open window. But fortunately, he flooded just enough in the third game that I was able to take it down. So this is a scary matchup. It's a difficult one for me to sideboard. So you'll get to see how I did that as well. I've made a couple changes from last week. We've got a second unsummon in the main over the negate, and we've got a 3rd copy of Aether Gust in the sideboard. That's over an Entrancing Melody, so kind of a wash. This matchup, Entrancing Melody is so important against Hydroid Crisis. Also good against Voracious Hydra. Can sometimes stall you on the ground. But Aether Gust so important against Shifting Ceratops. Only 1 in your sideboard, so that's helpful. At least Ben did one kind thing for me and only included the 1 copy.
So Benjamin had a disadvantage compared to me in this round. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
So Benjamin was just playing for money and a trophy. I have the true motivation to play for here, so it's all on the line. It's all on the table.
You also both get to be on the play.
Perfect.
Yeah, Ben was on the play in our match. He'll be on the play after losing the Modern match, and so let's just get it started.
Let's do it. All right.
You've been itching to play for marbles.
I have been. The pressure is on.
Can we still see these on the overhead?
I haven't pulled up the overhead. Let's see. A little bit.
We need to keep it there, right?
Yeah, we gotta let the people see that. It's like the final table of the WSOP. You gotta have the money on the table.
It's the same worth, right?
Yeah, exactly the same. I told you these were hundreds of years old, hand blown by master artisans.
Okay.
Passed down through my family for generations.
Sure. And you wouldn't lie to me, right?
No.
Okay, perfect. I'll keep.
Yeah, same.
Go.
Okay, no Llanowar Elves is a good start.
Yeah.
I will play a Siren Storm Tamer.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right, so we're going to go Incubation Druid.
Yep.
Pass to you.
That's where our mana creature comes in. And I will attack for 1.
19.
And I... Actually, hold on. Before I attack, I should opt now, just in case I hit Obsession.
Sure.
I will... I'm going to
People
bottom
want
that.
marbles in the center circle.
Just right here. Yeah.
I'll pass.
No attacks?
Or,
all right, I'll stay at 20.
Then get the attack.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, not much we can do here. We got to go for it. We're hoping you don't have it.
That resolves.
Ooh, okay. Well, with it resolving and the fact that I don't have a land right now, I think I am going to... Now, it's kind of rough here because I don't want Teferi to go away, but I also need to be making my land drop, so I'm going to bounce. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to let that resolve.
Okay. Draw no land drop for me, so that's bummer, and I'll pass it to you.
If Corey had not told me he wasn't making his land drop, I would have let it. I'm like, with no information, I'm definitely going to let that happen.
Yeah.
Once you tell me you don't have a land, like I'll consider countering it.
Sure. But they probably won't tell you in a match of Magic.
Yeah, that's usually not how it works. Let's slam a Tempest Djinn here.
Okay.
And pass the turn. I imagine we'll see a second Teferi come down.
Yeah. All right, we'll tick up, and no, we really need a land as well, so just a couple elves, and we'll pass it to you.
Okay. I am going to attack down this Teferi.
Teferi's dead.
Have not been majorly punished, so that's nice. And I'm going to play a Siren Storm Tamer and unsummon the Incubation Druid.
Okay.
And pass the turn.
I will untap here. Not great. Not a great draw. I think we're in a lot of trouble now. We're just going to be on the back foot here.
Ramp deck missing its land drops is usually a problem.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Lands cost 0, land elves cost 1.
We're going to go with the Teferi.
Okay, well, we got to counter that one.
Okay.
Because once that one resolves, you can't counter anything else.
Your turn.
I guess maybe we could have let that resolve.
Yeah, you probably could have, because you could have countered with
kind of the ability.
Storm Tamer.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
We've played this game fast and loose so far.
A little bit.
But let's play our 5th land and get in for 6.
All right. 13.
13. And
the advantage marbles are in your favor.
Yes.
An advantage bar here.
And I will pass the turn.
All right.
And on your upkeep, I'm going to tap down one of the land elves.
That seems good. Not much I can do about that.
I want to stop a 2/2 Crisis here.
Yeah.
That's a card that can buy.
If that's my best play, I think I'm in trouble here. We're going to go with a Paradise Druid. Past you.
Okay, play a 6 land, 7 in the air, 2 on the ground. If Corey wants to trade Druid for Trickster, I'm all about that.
I don't know if I truly have a choice. I have to absorb some damage here, so I'm going to do that.
Okay, well, I'll save my creature by dive downing it. So you take 7, go to 6.
Yep.
And now we need to see a flyer here.
All right. And we just got Druid, so yep, we're dead.
Just all mana creatures in hand?
Yep. Or I just had like Mass Manipulations, Frilled Mystics, like the cards I'm going to be signing out. I drew a significant amount of them.
Okay.
I think I could have just ticked up Teferi to stop Tempest Djinn from coming down, and then you attack it down to 4, and then I can bounce from there. I still lose Teferi after that, but you get a tempo loss of Djinn going back to your hand. So I think the fact that I didn't have a land kind of forced my hand a little bit, because I really needed to hit a land drop, but with not hitting a land, of course the better play would be to hold off on Teferi. But if I just drew a 3rd land, I would have never activated Teferi there, and it would have been a little bit of a different game.
It would have been much better.
Yeah.
Okay. We are going to take a quick break here while we get sideboard set up, and then we will come back for the post-sideboard games of Mono Blue Aggro against Bant Ramp.
All right. All right, welcome back to Versus Live here, sponsored by Carnox Chairs. We are going to sideboarding here with our 3rd and final match, which is Standard. We got Mono Blue in the hands of Ross versus me with Bant Ramp. My sideboarding is actually quite simple here. Mass Manipulation, a card that is just way too expensive against you. This is a great card against like Esper, slowerish aggro decks like Jund Dinos, Temur Elementals. It's all-star against here, but we just cannot afford to get dive downed or just have it be countered. So we take these out, as well as Frilled Mystic. It's just never never really a good time to play because you can play during my turn. So I'm just forced to maybe like flash it at an end step. Now I have 3 deputies, Shifting Ceratops and Lyra as all 5 amazing options. Outside of that, we don't really have a ton of decisions. I could think about negate and stuff like that, but it's pretty narrow, so it's a pretty easy sideboarding from my aspect. How about you?
Yeah, on my side, it's a lot harder. Normally in a matchup like this, where my opponent isn't playing as much removal and is playing mostly creatures, my dive downs and spell piercers are the cards I'm looking to cut. But in a matchup that now has 3 copies of Voracious Hydra and 3 of Deputy of Detention after sideboarding, you definitely need to leave in some dive downs. And against Teferi, you really need some pierces to stop early Teferi because you don't have a lot of reliable turn 2 counter spells. I'm not bringing in Negate in this matchup. My Essence Captures don't counter it, and the Aether Gust don't counter it. So you really need to leave in some spell pierces on the draw. I've decided to leave in 2. I trimmed 1 dive down. Maybe I should trim another. It's tough to know exactly how many creatures I want. With 3 dive downs, I think I can trim pretty far down on creatures because you're not going to be killing a lot of them. And if you do, resolve your deputies and hydras, I'm probably losing anyway, even if I replace that creature. So I've trimmed way down on Spectral Sailor. The ability is quite good in a lot of matchups. This is not one of them. You just don't have the time to sink 4 mana into drawing extra cards. This matchup is about stopping Corey from resolving really critical cards. So I'm trimming all the way down to 1 Sailor. With so many fewer pirates in the deck, the dispersals become a liability. And then we've trimmed 1 Trickster to make room on curve for this Surgemere.
Okay.
The Surgemere is really nice because it's almost unblockable. A lot of these decks have like Cavalier of Thorn, in addition to Hydroid Crisis to block Flyer. Surgemere gets through all of those. And if the game goes long, which it often does because you spend a lot of time, playing slowly to make sure that you can counter all of their stuff, you make 5 or 6 land drops, the Surgemere can get in for big chunks of damage.
Yeah. And I think one of the coolest things that you can do with Surgemere, Curious Obsession on Surgemere is disgusting. I did that so many times at Mythic Championship London. I mean, just draw 2 cards, discard 1 is seeing so many cards. So I like Surgemere. I would even like, from your side, having a couple more of them in, maybe in the place of Melody or something like that. But I know Surgemere is not at its greatest right now.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely thinking about playing a second one over the 3rd Cerulean Drake. If we're seeing more like, red-green instead of just straight red decks. The Surgemares are quite nice to play defense against them.
I can't believe you're thinking about cutting Cerulean Drake after your last match you played at the SCG Tour.
If I can't win even with the Drakes, then I might as well cut them.
That's true. I think lands were your problem, not the lack of Drakes.
There you go. So, our entrancing melodies here are very important at dealing with Hydroid Crisis. So, like those in this matchup. And then good answers to the big creatures. Aether Gust, particularly important against Shifting Ceratops. Also can just, play turn 2 against a Incubation Druid, stuff like that to stop that early mana acceleration out of the ramp deck. So, a nice versatile card here that can play both ways. And so we're down on creatures a bit. I sort of count Melody as a threat too. So we're down 2 threats really, but you do need a whole host of counter spells to stop the big threats out of this deck. And with Dispersals coming out, we need to bring in a lot more.
Sounds great to me. All right, I am down a game. Looking to pose a comeback. But I got beat pretty badly game 1. No lands did not help the case, but
I know your pain.
Yeah.
Got any questions over there while we're shuffling, Kyle?
Yeah, I got a couple. First thing, Ross, where's your mic pack? Did you put it back on your lap or something?
Yep.
It started dipping out again. Just leave it on the table, I guess. It seemed to work last time. Okay.
I got out of my chair during the break.
Yeah. So, is there a deck you think people need to look out for? Is maybe it had a good showing week 1, but you think it's more of a phony? Like, do you think the Vampires deck's real? Do you think...
I think I can take this one. So I think decks that showed up week 1 that I don't think are going to be as good moving forward is Simic Nexus. I think that's public enemy number 1 that it always seems like it's going to be great for week 1 and did okay, but these blue-based tempo decks are just on the rise. I just do not think Nexus is going to show up in as many numbers as it did week 1, and I think the Vampire deck is quite good, and I think we'll see a large increase.
Yeah.
Those would be my metagame predictions. What do you think?
I agree with that. I think not only does Simic Nexus struggle with the blue tempo decks, the decks that people are going to look to beat the blue tempo decks are the red aggressive decks, which you also struggle with as Nexus. I also think Simic Flash is not particularly good. I just can't ever imagine that deck being better than Mono Blue.
Curious Obsession, man. I mean,
you don't have Obsession. Your curve is way higher. Your mana base is much worse.
Yeah.
And the only thing you really gain is that you're much less vulnerable to specifically the card shifting Ceratops.
Yeah.
And if
even if it's not that good against, like, I mean, sure, you can. The only thing you're hoping for is a 4-mana 4/4 block your shifting Ceratops, like.
and if shifting Ceratops is that popular, like, don't play a tempo deck.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think Tempest Djinn is probably one of the best cards in Standard still. It just only, fits into one deck. And Curious Obsession is still busted. I agree with you. I think Mono Blue is much better.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think Orzhov Vampires is quite good. Much like Tempest Djinn is super powerful, but only in a specific shell. Sorin, Imperious Bloodlord, incredibly powerful in the Vampire shell. So I would expect that deck to show up 2 copies in the top 8 last weekend, and can definitely do more damage this weekend.
Yep, 1 top 8 at the Mox playoff as well in the form of Oliver 2, who gave the list to Zachary Keeney. Little modifications and stuff like that, but I think his list is phenomenal.
I'm sure those Tocatli Honor Guards will get out.
Yeah, those cards are trash.
I got a sleeve issue here.
Sleeve issue. We're going to get a judge in here. I'm guessing that just means the marbles go to me, right?
You have extra sleeves over there?
If not...
What are you doing to me here?
Just take one from your sideboard.
Yeah. Normally all the decks are sleeved in the...
I got a ton of them right here.
We got a marked cards warning here.
Yeah. You just put my sideboard in the wrong sleeves.
I didn't do anything.
Okay. Oh, so is your whole sideboard going to be off? Okay, I'll help you out here.
Can we get some more questions while we fix this?
Yeah. How do you feel about the new blue Planeswalker in Mono Blue? I don't know the name.
Muyan Ling.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that card. I think it's the place where I would really want it is in the mirror. It can shut down an obsession creature.
Yeah.
Because usually it's a 1/1 that gets +1/+1, and then make up this big 4/4 body.
But it's a 3-mana sorcery threat.
Yeah, that's a problem.
With Spell Pierce normally being kind of a dead card in that matchup. I'm not a believer.
Spell Pierce gets better in that matchup because Melody is already a card that people want.
Yeah.
But I've thought about it. There's a couple issues. One, it's about how good the 4/4 token is. Unsummon is going to be, I think, a popular card in the coming months. I'm already experimenting with a second one here.
Yep.
And then Teferi Time Raveler. The other place where you want a Planeswalker is against these decks that are going long and playing a lot of removal. So against a deck like Esper Hero, you can shut down Elite Guard Mage, get to attack into it. You can shut down just the hero itself early and make a 4/4. But that 4/4 body gets easily answered by Teferi.
Yeah.
Granted, that's a card that you need to counter anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe just compounding that isn't that big of an issue because it's already a problem. So I'm thinking about playing one. It would be one in my sideboard.
Yeah.
But I have to do more testing with it to come to.
I think it would be a mistake, but maybe I'm wrong on that. All right. So I'm on the play. Boo! I'll be testing the London Mulligan.
Likewise. Okay, and we're putting Kyle to the test now. More questions.
Yeah, how do you feel about the London Mulligan rule after you, did you say 9 times?
I mulliganed 9 times in my 9 games in the top 8. All 3 matches went to game 3.
Did you just mulligan every one a game or no?
No, I had 2 mulligans to 5.
Okay.
And 2 7-card hands that I got to keep.
Okay.
And, the mulligan was pretty good. It's about game 1 against Zach in the semifinals. My 5-card hand.
The Curious Obsession one.
Yeah, it was just a perfect. I kept 2 lands, Curious Obsession, Creature Protection.
I saw that. That was nice.
Let's go. I definitely felt like I had a lot of control, and I was really happy mulliganing to 6. And I think you saw a lot more mulligans to 6 because people were more willing to mulligan the marginal 7s. And then you saw a lot fewer mulligans to 5 because you would see functional 6-card hands within the 7-card that you saw. So
I think the London Mulligan rule is just great for Standard.
Yeah. It was my first time playing with it in Standard. I tested with it in Limited and Modern for Mythic Championship 2 in London.
Yep.
I never played with it in Standard, and it was, I was more
and
impressed
you're just playing the best deck for the London Mulligan by far. Like Curious Obsession undoes your mulligan so easily.
I drew a lot of Curious Obsessions.
Yeah.
Ugh.
5, 5, 5.
Well, this is the problem in cutting down on creatures. Both my hands have not had a creature in it. But This one is pretty good as long as I hit one. I think I'm going to try this.
Okay, I'm going to bottom this, and we're going to go with a lawnmower here. Your turn.
I'll play an island.
All right. Now we are going to...
No Teferi, please.
No Teferi yet. And I'll pass to you.
Ugh. Island go.
All right. So I don't have much going on either here. I'm just going to say go.
So I assume Corey's plan here is to just adapt the Incubation Druid. So on his end step, I'm going to Aether Gust it.
Aether Gust.
I'd be surprised if he bottoms here.
Yeah, I think I am going to bottom. Yep, we're going to bottom.
Okay. And I'll play an island and pass.
All right. I got Moto bugged.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, your turn.
Play an island and pass.
All right. I'm going to attempt to adapt.
That is fine.
Okay, and we'll get in there.
I'll go to 16.
All right, your turn. Oops.
Island pass.
Ooh. So that's an island, blue. Okay, shifting Ceratops.
Yep.
I will take some pain.
Go to 18.
I'll give it haste. We'll crunch on in.
I'll take 9. Go to 7.
All right, your turn. Shifting Ceratops is a good magic card against this blue strategy you got going on.
A little late with the Tempest.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You can go. I don't think I'm going to be able to 18 Corey next turn.
Really? All right, we're going to start with a Teferi.
I will respond by dive downing my Tempest Djinn.
Okay.
And then Teferi resolves.
All right. So I could get you for 6. We'll just get in for 5.
I'm at 2.
4, 5, 6, 7. I'll make a 10, 11. Then it's your turn.
It's pretty big.
Not bad. 2 different dice.
What I really need here is a sleep.
We've had some great games so far.
That'll do it. We'll move on to game 3. Get there nice and quick.
All right. Yeah, that was an unfortunate one. Mulling to 5 when you're on the draw. I mean, I'm sure you had plenty of reaction spells. What was your keep?
It's a couple lands. I had a Gust Scatter, it was like Gust Scatter Dive Down or something, and some lands.
And I didn't play Hydra. I had it the whole time, but I was like, I want to actually just pressure your life total so you're forced to maybe tap out and then try to play a Hydra. But
yeah. I'm going to cut a Spell Pierce here now that I'm on the play. Teferi, we can do a little bit more against it.
Yep.
And get another creature in here. Let's bring back in this Trickster.
And I didn't really have too much to change here. Once again, negate Spell Pierces I don't really like. The only thing I would like is Spell Pierce for exactly my turn 1 to get a Curious Obsession, but I think that's a little too narrow, so I'm going to not do that.
Sometimes Spell Pierce can protect your spells.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but you just need things to go right in order to
Yep, agreed.
In a deck that doesn't, if your deck had a lot more ways to filter through its draws and set that up, then I would like a more narrow card like that.
So 1 game for the marbles, huh?
1 game to rule them all.
God,
it's the pressure mounting.
So much pressure.
Do you need the marbles back in the middle?
Yeah. Now we'll keep them over here closer. Marble pressure mounting.
Do you need a break? You need to catch your breath?
Yeah, I need a towel.
Do a prayer.
All right, so you're on the draw, right?
I will be on the play.
Good choice.
Thank you very much.
Good choice.
And
maybe we'll keep some magic hands.
I'll just Obsession you on turn 2. And yeah, this is going to be a keeper.
Oh boy, I don't think mine is. If we take a look at my hand here, this hand I think is a trap. It's close. We have 2 guild gates essentially. We have a Simic guild gate and an Orzhov guild gate. We can't really excel into anything. I think this is just going to be a bit too slow, so we'll take advantage of this London mulligan.
Reasonable.
It's a close one. It's definitely a close one. All right. Ross is smirking like he's got a Curious Obsession draw here, so...
I don't have the marbles for nothing. Yeah, let's do our super serious cuts here.
You better. This one's a lot on the line. All right.
First mulligan.
So, first, let's not curse me like that. All right, we're going to keep this one. Sand is definitely better. It's not insane or anything. I think we just want to put this to the bottom. Maybe not. I could see actually putting... No. Could see putting this at the bottom. We are on the draw. Okay. Put this on the bottom.
Okay. I will start with a Storm Tamer.
Okay.
You're up.
We're punished with one draw. That wasn't it. Okay. Your turn. Don't do it.
I didn't have it in my opening.
You won.
Attack you for 2.
18.
Let's draw a card. And then I will pass the turn after.
All right. Druid pass.
Incubation Druid, I will unsummon.
Okay.
I will attack for 2.
Okay. 16.
16. I'll draw a card.
Hate it.
And then I'll play Island and another Storm Tamer. Pass the turn.
Okay. All right. So we just have to play Druid again.
That's fine.
And Hollowed Fountain tapped, and I'll pass it to you.
On your end step, I'll play a Spectral Sailor.
Okay. This
gets me to 4 power, so it reduces the clock exactly. So attack for 4.
Okay.
You go to 12. I'll draw a card.
Yep.
I will play an island and pass the turn.
All right. So now I have options here. If we want to take a peek at my hand here, we could go to just play this to try to hold up. I mean, almost whatever I play is probably going to get countered here, so I shouldn't anticipate anything going too well here. I think I want a double spell here, and there's only one way to do so. And that's by going... We're going to go with a Hydra for 1.
So a Hydra for 1 is certainly going to try to fight something. My guess it'll just try to fight this. And that is easy for me to let resolve, so sure.
Okay, yep, fight this. And then Incubation Druid.
Yep.
Pass 2. Try to shorten it down a little bit here.
Okay, let's Obsession up the Sailor.
Okay.
Keep our 4 damage clock here, which is why I didn't
8.
care about losing the 1/1. Now I'll draw 2.
Okay.
And I will pass the turn.
All right. So now we definitely need to be casting some big stuff. So I think we only have one big thing here. So 3, 4, 5. We're going to Crisis for 5.
So that's going to gain 2.
Yep. Go
Bring
to
you to
10. Draw 2.
Yep. And then I'm going to Essence Capture it, put a counter on the Spectral Sailor.
Okay. That's going to have to happen, and then we'll get in for 1.
Brings me to 19.
Your turn.
So the 2 life gets negated on 2 attacks from the extra counter. So we haven't reduced our clock at all, which is nice. I can attack for 5.
Down to 5.
Corey to 5. With the land and another Crisis, he can gain 3. So have a land there, but I can be good against the Crisis by playing this Terramander and then pass the turn.
Scary Terry. All right. Well, I do not think I'm going to be winning this game.
Yeah. This is the classic mono blue.
Yeah, classic mono blue draw here. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I got nothing I can do but play a giant Crisis.
And that's going to gain you 3 life to 8.
Yep.
And you know what? That'll resolve.
Okay, this is gonna go well. Your turn.
Actually, I can't let that resolve and kill you next turn.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you said that resolved. Can we rewind the tape?
Let's see it. Yeah, because I have two in here. Oh yeah, that's fine. You're at 8. So I was going to try to melody it, but I'll just Aether Gust it on your end step.
Okay.
And then go to my turn, play this land, pay 5 mana because I've got 3 spells, Gust, Capture, Unsummon. Adapt this Terramander.
That's fair.
Attack you for 10 damage in the air.
All right. Good games. The marbles will stay. I really wanted them so that when I went to Barcelona, you guys were not playing for anything. But I guess when I get back from Barcelona, I'll be coming back for them.
These babies can stay right there, and you can pine over them for another week and a half.
I'm really glad I'm playing a different matchup here if we play against each other in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw the power of it. You have a lot of good tools in the matchup, but none of them come online before turn 3 unless you're able to ramp into them with the Llanowar Elves.
Yeah.
And so when you're on the draw, those obsession draws are just so hard to beat because they set me up to be able to aggressively use my counter magic early and knowing that I'm still going to have, more cards coming, more answers coming to your threats.
Yeah. So whenever you're on the play, you have those draws where if you have them, it doesn't matter what I have. I'm going to lose. The Curious Obsession draws, when you're on the play, it doesn't matter. Now, when I'm on the play, a turn 2 Teferi is going to mess with any line that you truly can throw at me. So even your nut draw on the draw is somewhat manageable if I have a nut draw, but your nut draw, and you can beat my nut draw when I'm on the play, but the thing is I can't beat yours on the play. So Mono Blue definitely has the higher ceiling in the matchup. But I would say the lower floor as well.
Yeah. I like game 2, I just didn't really do much of anything, looking for the one piece for the one threat to make things go. Your list also has Voracious Hydra to be able to, disrupt that draw. Spectral Sailor helps there. It lets me get the creature down at instant speed. But if I have to extend a Terramander or a Siren Storm Tamer, your Llanowar Elves into Voracious Hydra on the play will kill my 1-drop. And that can be really big.
Yeah, so if I can ever get Llanowar Elf on the play into either Hydra or Teferi, it's going to be a big advantage for me. But on the play, if you can even just take it slow and go like 1 mana pirate creature, hold up some wizard retorts, and then eventually Obsession. I think we saw this done best by like Autumn Burchett at that Pro Tour. Like every time when I thought Autumn should have played like a little bit more aggressively, they chose to play really passively, and then 6 turns later, we see why Autumn made the play. And I think playing the deck that kind of way or going for these fast Curious Obsessions, like there's so much you can do from your end.
No, you saw the easy mode there because I'm playing it's a deck that didn't have interaction, but there were plenty of times over the course of Worcester last weekend where I waited until turn 3, turn 4, turn 5 to get my Obsession out to make sure it would stick, or make sure that when it stuck, I wasn't super far behind on the battlefield. Because, if you go for it and your aggressive opponent just slams a bunch of creatures on the board and you're at 10, your extra card isn't going to be enough. You need to be able to maintain parity against the more aggressive decks, and then against the more react decks, make sure that you have their outs covered. So that because when your Obsession gets going, you win. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to get going on turn 2. If it gets going on turn 4 after you've countered the first thing they played, then that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, as long as you can protect it when you play it that late in the game. Otherwise, if you can't protect it, you want to be jamming it most of the time. One of the major lesson that I wrote about for people picking up this deck, and I wrote about it earlier this week, starcgames.com. Check that one out. Nice plug.
Be patient. We call it Mono Blue Aggro. That's a bit of a misnomer. It really is a tempo deck. A lot of people don't have a firm grasp of exactly what that means. And I think the difference is aggressive decks, both aggressive decks and tempo decks are looking to get ahead of their opponent. Aggressive decks are looking to do it by just being really low to the ground and coming out as fast as they can and hoping their opponent can't keep up. You in an aggressive deck, you have just enough disruption to stop the key things that your opponents are doing. Out of the tempo deck, you're looking to gain an advantage by actually interacting. You play your dive down and counter their 2-mana removal spell. Then you play your 2-mana counter spell and counter their 3-mana Teferi. Then you play your second 2-mana counter spell after playing a 1-mana threat and counter their 4-mana thing. And at every single exchange, you're getting ahead. But you're doing so by sequencing in a way that you line up your answers against their threats, almost like a reactive deck would do. But you're doing it in a proactive way. And that can be tricky to do. It's one of the reasons Spectral Sailor is so good in the deck is because it makes it easier. You just leave up the mana, and then whatever they do, you just play your appropriate thing.
Or draw a card if they don't try to pressure you enough. Yeah.
Yes, or draw a card or deploy your 1-mana threat if it's still in your hand. So it gives you a lot of options there. So that patience and knowing when to go for it, when to hold back. You have to know exactly what your opponent's deck is capable of in order to take into account all of the variables, and it gets really tricky. But the deck becomes super fun because there's a lot of puzzling every turn and how you sequence.
Exactly, and there's a lot of things. The deck Ross is playing mono blue tempo is not something you want to just pick up and try to play. Like, it takes reps. It takes a lot of reps to know when you should go for it, when you want to hold back, what's worth protecting in what matchup. So it's not something I recommend you just jump into, but it's a very powerful deck. So you might be asking, Corey, why not just play that? Why aren't you going to play that? Why shouldn't everybody play that? Deck looked unbeatable. Well, check out my arena video this week and see what I played to try to answer the deck in the form of Jund Dinos. That is what I'm going to be playing at SCG Philadelphia. It attacks it in such a way where it's playing such big, aggressive threats with 4 shifting Ceratops might have a little bit of help in this matchup. But whenever mono blue plays from behind, or mono blue, whenever it is behind, it's really hard to catch up. Sure, unsummon and stuff is good, but when you're just playing haymaker after haymaker every turn, attacking for 1 or 2 just usually isn't enough. So there's ways to beat mono blue, but you have to be proactive and you have to be able to attack it at a different angle than just playing giant sorcery speed creatures that you think will get there, like Hydroid Crisis of Game 3. I had big stuff. I was doing big things, but it just didn't matter.
Traditionally, the red aggressive decks are where you want to be against mono blue. I think some of the new sideboard cards with Aether Gust and Cerulean Drake really help out those matchups.
You don't like the mono red matchup?
It wasn't great before. I think it was better than most people thought.
Yeah, we liked it at Mythic Championship 2 in London. Like, we were happy to play against mono red, and we didn't have Drake. We didn't have Cerulean Drake.
I wouldn't say I was happy to play against it, but I thought they were ahead, but not by much. Yeah. And if you talk to most people, they would say mono red is super ahead. Yeah. I thought mono blue was ahead the early days of that season when people were cutting Fanatical Firebrand and they were playing Risk Factor main. I thought mono blue was definitely ahead against those versions. Yeah. But once they went back to more creatures, it got a little harder. I think the list that Aaron played last weekend with Chandra Spitfire gets a little bit worse. She only had 1 Manic Frenzy, not a good card in the matchup. She's playing these flying creatures in the main deck, which can be problematic. It really comes down to shock. I lost 3 matches last weekend. 1 was to my own horrible play, and 2 were to people playing 4 Manic Shocks.
No, that's fair. And I mean, one thing you have to be conscious in that matchup of red versus blue, you always have to be conscious of Chain Whirler. And that's how the matchup feels insanely lopsided in the favor of red, is because people that are just kind of picking up blue, they're just like, well, I have a creature to play. I'm not going to do anything else. I should play it. But you have to be timing it right, thinking when your opponent is going to cast Chain Whirler. If you think that if you can't beat a Chain Whirler at any point, maybe you have to jam. I mean, there's so many variables to how to play around that card. First picking up the matchup, I got destroyed plenty of times. I'm like, this matchup's terrible. But after playing it a lot, we were starting to fill the holes with it. And I think especially with the Pro Red Drake, you can kind of do the same.
Yeah, Drake gives you another easy mode sort of button to push where you just play Drake and hook it up with an obsession. And they just can't interact with it.
I didn't even think of that. But mostly, I mean, we were just winning with Tempest Shin being backed up a dive down because they had to aim 2 spells at it. And if they didn't have that 3rd spell to hit after you dive down it, they're done. They're done. They're toast.
Now they frequently can hit it with 1 spell. They have lava coils, and now they have fries. So you really need the dive down.
Oh, yeah. Fry is bad.
One of the reasons I played 4 main deck dive downs is because I expected dive down to get better post board against all the decks that were playing fry.
Sure.
And it was already going to be pretty good in the main deck.
Did you consider sideboarding some of them since maybe they weren't as good in the main, but they were better games 2 and 3?
I thought about that, but I just wanted more high impact cards on the sideboard. Dive down's already a good card in your main deck. But everybody's interacting with you anyway. So it's not like the 4th one comes at a big cost. So
and I think something we're gonna see at this weekend, and something that we at least saw last weekend at the SCG, is interaction is kind of cheap interaction is kind of at an all-time low, which is I think why you chose a great metagame deck for Worcester. Am I saying that right? Worcester. You chose a great deck for Worcester, and I think it's going to be a little bit of the same. I think maybe there's going to be a little bit more adapting for this week, but it's the same reason why I'm playing Jund Dino. This early interaction that would kill my red 2-drops is if they don't have a lot of them, the deck just snowballs, similar to Mono Blue. So I think these are still going to be very strong decks for the weekend.
Yeah, and a card like Marauding Raptors will survive, an early shock. We saw the same thing with Leafkin Druid. A lot of really just powerful 2-drops, whether they're mana creatures or 1-drops in some cases, Llanowar Elves, and 1-drop into Obsession. These early plays are really important, and they've been doing really well because, there isn't a lot of early interaction. We saw a lot of shock last season.
Yeah.
Whether
not a lot of shocks that did well in the top 8, outside of it.
Not last weekend. I mean, last season. Before this set, during the War of the Spark season, early on, there was a lot of Thief of Sanities because people wanted to beat Simic Nexus. Then we moved on to these Planeswalker decks that were playing shock just to have early interaction, especially with their Mox Ambers. They played their tap out for their 3-mana Planeswalker, play like a Saheeli, play Mox Amber, get a token, shock one of your creatures, get a token, and they'd be so far ahead, they'd be able to slam Planeswalkers, even if they didn't do anything on turn 2.
Yeah.
Then we saw a push towards, Gruul decks, and is it Phoenix decks returning? They all played main deck shock. So throughout the entire season, almost no matter what decks were doing well, shock was a big part of that metagame.
Yeah.
And early in this season, we saw not as many. Mono Red wasn't as popular in week 1 as it has been the previous couple of seasons. We saw basically no Is It Phoenix.
Yeah. I think that's the product of Simic Nexus.
Yes.
The fact that Simic Nexus was really big. I would not be shocked if Is It Phoenix has a great weekend this weekend. That
would be really bad for me.
It'd be bad for me.
That is like the nightmare matchup for Mono Blue.
It is. And I mean, we're not seeing a lot of Simic Nexus, and Esper isn't as high. It's not like the, all-around #1 deck. So Is It Phoenix easily could be a great thing. And if I had a lot more time to test, I think that's something I would really look into, because I don't think we're going to see a lot of Simic Nexus because Tempo is throwing it out. So I think Is It Phoenix could be a very good... Wait, we shouldn't say that for our sake, huh? Is It Phoenix? I think it's pretty dead right now, don't you think?
And it's only good in Modern.
It's only good in Modern. Hey, the wound's still open, man. Don't get the knife out of my back here.
That's gonna stay. I'm twisted. We don't pull it out. We twist.
We twist here. Okay,
stab
gotcha.
and twist.
Yeah, it's going to be a great home here in Roanoke, Virginia.
You're going to love it. As soon as we get someone else in that you get to pick on,
nice.
Then you'll like it.
It's like hazing here for the first person coming in. Okay.
We got a few more minutes left here before we wrap it up. We got some questions to take.
Not at the moment. Really.
Come on, chat.
I mean, there's a couple here and there. I'm just afraid you might have touched on a couple of them already, but
we can go into more detail.
I guess one that has popped up throughout, I guess since we started Standard, was talking about the Ceratops against Blue. All right. How do you say Mono Blue is favored against a deck that runs 4 Ceratops or sides them in?
So if they have 4 in the main, that's going to be a problem. Like I'm scared of dinosaurs. But I played against plenty of people that had 2 or 3 in their sideboards over the weekend. You're usually favored in game 1 in those matchups, so that's a big part of it. When you're beating a sideboard card, if you can win game 1, that helps.
That helps a lot.
So you're generally favored game 1 against those green decks. Then post-board games, you got a lot of options. They could not draw a Shifting Ceratops. They're a green deck. They don't see a lot of cards. They've only got 2 or 3 of them.
That's
so
fair.
Maybe one of the...
You only have Ancient Stirrings for Shifting Ceratops. No big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Then, again, dinosaurs a little bit different.
Yeah,
but they can, you can be aggressive. A lot of the time they'll get their 1 down, but you've already have gotten in some damage. And then, you start chump attacking with 1 creature. Or let's say the first time they get it down, they're tapped out. So it doesn't have reach. So you get in 1 attack with your flyers again. The following turns, like if you just play to the board now, sometimes you have to get aggressive against it. Sometimes you leave a window for them to do something else, but then you attack into it. You can Entrancing Melody, another big green creature that can help. Even a big Krasis that's also blue might attack over it if it's 6/6 or bigger. Or you can buy time against it with Aether Gust. I've added a 3rd for this list. That is a response to, I think, people are going to play more Ceratops this weekend.
Yeah.
So, if you're already ahead a little bit, as Mono Blue decks tend to be, when they play their Ceratops, you get to Aether Gust it, buy a turn that way, get a full attack in. The next turn, maybe you get an attack in if they can't give it reach and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of just sort of finessing your way around it, stealing a game where they would have played it, and sometimes you just lose a game where they play Ceratops and win the other one.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm playing from the side of playing a bunch of Ceratops for this weekend because I do think it's going to be a great card, but I've lost when I played it against blue.
Yeah.
It's not like I have a 100% win rate. It's high, and don't get me wrong, it has campy counter and protection from blue against a mono blue deck. It's not going to be bad. Let's get real here, chat.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's the mono blue gains so much card advantage early that, like, from the Dino aspect, if you are playing this on turn 3 after you've ramped it out, you're probably going to win that game. My win rate when I'm playing Ceratops on turn 3 on the play is upwards of 95%. But on the draw, played on turn 4, that's sometimes not enough. And that just shows the true power of mono blue tempo and even blue green tempo. I even had a blue green flash tempo deck that was bringing in Growth Chamber Guardian, probably in response to that. It still takes it down, and there's ways to look around it, but it's bad.
Yeah, out of mono blue, you could play a transmogrifying wand. That'll kill Shifting Ceratops.
We played one at Mythic Championship London.
That card is so bad. Every time I drew it, I was just like, ugh.
Well,
does it really do that? Can it do something better?
Hey, well, if you are looking at trying to beat Izzet Phoenix, you drop a Niv Mizzet, you turn that Niv Mizzet into an Ox, you got a game. But if that Niv Mizzet is a dragon, you did.
We used to play what was the enchantment Deep Freeze.
Yep.
That was the one that could kill Niv Mizzet. That one doesn't kill Shifting Ceratops though.
No.
So Shifting Ceratops is a problem. Out of a deck that doesn't really pressure you otherwise, it usually just has to hang back, and that gives you time to go wide. That's what happened in a game I played against Simic Nexus, and then I made a mistake against it and missed 2 damage as a result, and he ended up playing 3 Shifting Ceratops in the game, and I still should have won. I should have been able to sneak in the last 2 points. Instead, I left him at exactly 2 after missing 2 damage.
Yeah.
Because I just had this whole host of counter spells. He couldn't do anything else. His entire Nexus plane did nothing.
Yeah.
It's
such a bad matchup.
And I would have had I would have had exactly enough time. Instead, needed to wait one more turn, and because of that, he was able to get in for 5, get in for 15, and get me in the 2-turn clock. So,
tighten up, Ross.
Yeah.
You got a team depending on you here.
No, I got my mistakes out early last weekend. The round 3, round 4, round 5. I was a little sloppy.
Well,
we figured it out.
If you're making mistakes until it's still taking seconds, your team should be a force to reckon with. So before we go, who are you playing with this week?
I am playing with Jim Davis and Tannen Grace. So Team BCW getting together, still trying to get Tannen that trophy.
He doesn't have one, huh?
Oh no.
God, even I have one, and I've been living in the Midwest.
Speaking of which, Tannen, who's watching right now, wanted me to tell you, Ross, that he's sorry he wasn't here for you during Legacy, and you better draw the same way you did just now this weekend.
I think even funnier, I was watching the coverage when you were in the finals, and Tannen was in chat, I was in chat watching, and someone's like, yeah, maybe we can finally get Tannen a trophy, and he's like, God, I'm not even there, and I'm getting daggered. And now he comes to watch us to have a good day, and here we are daggering him again. Good teammate, buddy.
Every day on our Discord server, he gets daggered. He's got a nice suit of armor, a metaphorical suit of armor on. So the darts, the daggers, they ricochet off.
But we were speaking high praises of how he just has an 80% win rate every time he casts.
I wish you'd been there for Legacy. That match didn't go so well, Tannen. Yeah. And I had some tough spots, and my hand was full of creatures and cantrips. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Tannen will tell you. He often will stop and be like, Ross, what do you think I should do here? And he'll show his hand to me, and I just look. 80% of the time, I look over and just shrug. Like, wow, your game. The only times I'll give him help is if he's playing against Elves or Storm. I'm like, okay, I know how to play these matchups.
Yeah. Well, I am a Legacy expert. Everyone knows it. Check the facts on this.
Yeah, that is the book on Corey.
And I'm going to be playing with Shaheen Sarani, and he's our teammate who's got a coat of armor. We even direct all our negative comments from my Bass Bros podcast to Shaheen Sarani at Twitter, and also at Pete Ingram. Make sure to come and say hi. It's my Star City Games debut. I don't bite. Come and say hi. Give me a high five, and this should be a really fun weekend. I'm stoked.
Yes.
Stoked to play at this tour.
And, if you are unable to make it out, you can catch all the action right at this channel. If you're watching on YouTube, that channel is twitch.tv/SCG Tour. The action starts at 10 o'clock local time, so that's going to be Eastern time in Philadelphia on Saturday. Return for day 2, 10 a.m. Sunday. Get you all 15 rounds, 30 rounds in the top 8.
What are we going to do on Sunday? Should we go to a bar or something?
I'm going to win the tournament.
Oh, you are? Oh, we're trying.
You're going to lose the finals to me.
Oh,
when we're both playing standard.
I'll take it.
In a bad matchup for me, I'll still win with mono blue. We'll figure it out.
Sure.
You'll know before.
If you guys meet in the finals, both playing standard, are the marbles on the line?
No, the marbles stay here.
Yes.
The marbles stay here. That's
You're the tiebreaker here. It's a yes and a no, so this is on you.
That's not how this works.
All right, fine.
Okay, we got some subs over there to shred out.
No.
Oh,
we just didn't get
just
it.
no.
Okay.
Shut down.
No subs. Okay, well that's fine. We'll get some more subs next week. We'll be back here on Tuesday for another episode of Versus Live. That's going to do it for today. I'm Ross Miriam. Still have the marbles. That's Corey Baumeister.
Marbleless.
Kyle West that doesn't care about marbles. And see you next Tuesday.